This tripod costs more than a used car, while this one costs less than a set of winter tires for that car. This light looks like it belongs in the MoMA, while this light, well, this one doesn't. Filmmaking gear can get expensive and fast, and this is why, regardless of your budget, every purchase matters. And so in this video, I want to show you a few of the more expensive items that I've invested in over my career that have actually been worth the money. Not just because they're fancy or cool, but because they've lasted, they've performed, and they've stopped me from needing to buy over and over again in order to upgrade them. But this isn't gonna be a video where I say expensive equals better. So for every premium tool that we mention, we're also gonna show you one or two budget-friendly options that still deliver the goods. Because the goal isn't to spend less, or at least that's not the only goal. The goal is to spend wisely. Because as the saying goes, buy better, buy less. Let's get into it. So this is the Sachtler Flowtech 75, the legs, with the Active 6 head on top. And altogether, I think right now it's on sale for roughly 3,000 USD, and it is by far the most expensive tripod I've ever purchased. And yet, this is one of my favorite pieces of gear that I use all the time. I've had it for almost 5 years now, over 4 years anyways, and it's working just as good as it was on the day that I got it. So I want to talk you through what makes this tripod so great, but I also want to show you another option in case you're not looking to spend down payment money on a tripod. Right off the bat, I'm sure you've seen these red levers here before, and these are the quick release levers that are just going to drop your legs down. You can imagine you have it all the way down here on the ground. All you have to do is with both hands, you can actually flip all three switches together and then just pull it up. And you are at max height here already. If you want to bring it down, same thing, you know, and you're on your way. What's great, we've also got some magnets down here in the legs that kind of hold them together nicely during travel. I don't know why I did that. So a lot of this is just what makes the Flowtech legs fantastic. And you can get these legs with other tripods, with other Sachtler tripods. What makes this Active line and heads so unique is not necessarily what it has, but what is missing. So if you look down here, there's obviously no handle here, which is normally what you would have used to loosen in order to level the head. Now on the Active series, what we have is this little lever here. And all you need to do is just lift on it a bit, and like right away, the head's super easy to level. Let's say this is level, it's not. As soon as you let go of it, even if I didn't push it down, it is just rock solid. It's not going anywhere at all. And then you lift it, level it, you're done. Beyond just that, however, if you wanted to, you can lift it a little higher and the head's gonna pop right off. And then they sell a little adapter that you could put on a slider or whatever else you might wanna put on for the same kind of idea. So all you do is just put it in and you are locked off already. And now beyond just being able to very quickly level the head and be able to take it off and move it around, what this really opens up, I think, is what turns this from just a great tripod head on a great set of legs into a really great package. So when we bring it down here, this will go completely flat to the ground. And so now you've gone from 6-foot tripod down to hi-hat on the ground with full pan tilt functionality in seconds, like in no time at all. I love it so much. It's a tripod that I'm so glad to have purchased so long ago so that I don't have to make the purchase today. As of now, I can't think of any cons to this tripod for how I work other than the price. And the price is kind of important because right now, I wouldn't be buying this. I just don't have that kind of like flexible income to spend on tripods. So if I was buying today, let me show you what I would be looking at. So this is the Shure SQ75 with the VHS 10 head on top. And I cannot believe how much bang for your buck is packed into this package right here. This tripod clearly has a lot of similarities to the Sachtler, but at a fraction of the cost. I believe it's around 400 USD, and it has like 90+% of everything that the Sachtler does. Currently, I would have no qualms with recommending this tripod to someone looking just for like a good cinema tripod for their camera. So what are you missing from that, 3,000 USD down to this 400 USD price point? Well, I'll tell you what, there are no magnets down here holding legs together. There's just these little plastic clips that come off of each of them. And that's gonna spread out the legs to the mid-level spreader. I really do think these are gonna break off pretty quickly. It feels like kind of a hard, brittle plastic, and it's pretty thin. So when it comes to raising and lowering it, we similarly have a single stage movement. If you go, there we go. But now that latch is actually down here in the center. It's not quite as fast to work with just because of the amount of reaching you have to do it. Whereas obviously on the Sackler, it's like grab the camera and just, it's a bit bigger and bulkier and more convoluted of a package, but it's good. It's good. This is the Kelvin EPOS 600. It is a 600 watt RGB ACL powerhouse of a light. I mean, it is a brick piece of machined art. Their lights are all manufactured in Norway. This light is IP65, so it's dust, water, whatever resistant. Just a really high quality build. However, I do have to say, they sent it out over to us. So it wouldn't be fair of me to say like, absolutely worth the money, because who knows, 6 months from now it could stop working. I doubt it. It does come with a great 3-year warranty. I think most companies are giving you 1 year, so that's very cool. But I just wanted to be transparent here. Let's talk first about what makes them unique. I mean, right off the bat, you can see the design is unlike anything else on the market. This is all machined out of 6mm aluminum. It is a unit. The power ballast is just, in my opinion, the most beautiful piece of film equipment that I own. It seems like it belongs equally in some like brutalist Norwegian art museum or also on set of Star Wars. I'm not really sure. Beyond just a pretty freaking cool design, it is very functional. We've got this wonderful touch screen up here, super intuitive, very easy to use. These knobs are really high quality. They're press dials. And I've just found working with this light is really quite a pleasure. They've really gone the distance to design something that is all their own. It's got a lot of unique little twists, like this button right here. One other cool thing they've done here is with their yoke. The light is already balanced here, so you can basically very effortlessly put it anywhere, and without even tightening it down, it's not gonna fall. They've also added these little quick release latches that you can see here, and if you take these both off, the head itself will come right out of the yoke. So this is not an RGB WW light like what you see in most comparable lights on the market, like the Aperture 600C Pro 2. It's RGB ACL. And what that means is rather than a red, green, blue, and then a warm white and a cool white chip, they have red, green, blue, amber, cyan, and lime. And they use all those colors in order to create the white lights. And what you end up with is way richer and more saturated colors and a much better gradation between all of the colors. If you want to see a much more in-depth and thorough breakdown of all of the technical specs of this light, check out Gear and Gaffer's video. I've linked it down below and here in the corner. But he's got a lot of really fascinating tests on the lights. One that really stood out to me is as he's shifting through the RGB range, you can see just how many more colors there are in that spectrum than what you would get on a 600C Pro. Another thing that Kelvin's doing, I don't see anyone else doing, is they've got this little accessory kit here. When we open this up, they have various different magnetic diffusion / lenses, and you just pop it right in and it's gonna stick there. And so this is gonna help maybe broaden the spread if you're gonna go bare bulb. It's also gonna fill a softbox a little bit better. They also have, a flat kind of diffusion one. They also have one that they call the high performance lens, and that's going to give you increased output, especially when used with their 62, 63 degree reflector. You're also going to get more output for sure than the 600C Pro, and I think marginally more than the 600C Pro 2 as well. And that's sweet because I can still run this off of my little Jackery portable generator, and that isn't true about some other bigger lights like my 1200X. And so that brings us to some of the cons of this light, which is that there are no first-party Fresnels or spotlight attachments. And while you technically can use third-party ones, they aren't going to be optimally designed for this. And the reason is their chipset is actually inset about 1.5 inches behind here. And when you think about a Fresnel especially, and a spotlight mount, is they are optics. And so similar to a camera, the distance between your lens and your sensor is quite important. The same is true with lights. Kelvin is currently working on their own accessories like the Fresnel, so I expect to see those pretty soon. The only other real drawback I've found with this light so far is the price. For the past couple months, it seems, it was on a pretty hefty discount, which had it down around 3,000 USD. But it's definitely up more from there now, maybe around 4,000. So I think every production company, production house, rental house needs to have at least one really high quality, bright, powerful, versatile light. And in that regard, I think the EPOS 600 makes a fantastic option if budget allows. And if budget doesn't allow, let me give you a couple options that I have no hesitance in recommending, starting with what is lighting me right here. So this is the Amaran 300C, a light I've talked about quite a bit, and I use it daily. It's a versatile RGB WW light with enough brightness to function as a key light, but it also has plenty of extra features. And while it doesn't offer the full color spectrum of RGB ACL or match the brightness of the Kelvin EPOS 600, the 300C definitely punches above its weight class, and at around $569 USD, it's a tough price to beat. For a quick comparison, here's what max output through my large Neewer softbox looks like on the 300C compared to max brightness through the same Neewer softbox at the same location on the Kelvin EPOS 600. Now, if you prioritize output over those color options, let's talk about the Neewer 600B. So Neewer has been making budget-friendly photo video gear for quite a long time, and it's pretty impressive to see how far they've come. The 600B is a powerful 600-watt bi-color light, meaning it goes from cool daylight to warm white, but it doesn't offer any green magenta shifting. And at around 1,000 USD, it's a solid choice for those who need sheer output. And with NAB right around the corner, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a 600C from them soon. The build quality is okay, definitely not the best, and there's a bizarre lag from when you input brightness or color settings in the dial to when you see it happen from the light itself, but otherwise it's a decent and cheap 600-watt bicolor light. This video is sponsored by Artlist, which is something that I'm very much convinced is worth the money. And it's also a really great budget alternative to traditional editing asset generation. I personally have never had to get a custom score built for a film, but I can only imagine it's a heck of a lot more expensive than my measly Artlist subscription is. Artlist is full of all sorts of filmmaking assets: music, stock footage, sound effects, AI voiceover, templates, plugins. More recently, they've added something called artboards, which for this video, we created an artboard called Expensive Gear Worth the Money, and right away, it automatically brings up a whole host of footage, sound effects, songs, just based on that title. But beyond that, the site's even gotten a lot easier to work with. For example, if we're browsing for music and we find something that we like, we can just click it and drag it into our favorites or right into that artboard. They've also upgraded how their search algorithms work, especially for things like that stock footage. So for example, you could just type in person eating pizza and you're gonna get a whole bunch of shots that come up. Now, you could select one of them and hit find similar, and right away you're gonna find a whole bunch of similar shots that still fit that criteria. But on top of that, you can add additional parameters like vertical only. That way, if you are a production company or a media house and you make a lot of social content for brands, you're not gonna get flooded with a bunch of footage that you have to wonder like,
if I crop this, is it gonna look good?
No, you're just gonna get fed the footage that works for your project. So if you're a person who works in filmmaking, content creation, media, really of any kind, you're gonna wanna check out Artlist at the link below down in the description. Thank you, Artlist, for sponsoring this video. And now, back to the expensive / not so expensive gear with a speed round. The last thing that I wanted to talk about isn't specifically a piece of filmmaking gear, and that is a decent monitor. This is gonna be a product that you interact with pretty much daily. These are not symmetrical also. If you've ever spent much time looking at the market of the various monitors, BenQ, LG, Samsung, they each make what feels like 1,000 different monitors, and choosing can be pretty overwhelming and potentially kind of difficult. I use the Apple Studio Display. I'm a little bit of a nincompoop and I got the upgraded stand as well as the matte display. However, all of the points that I want to make about why I chose this monitor apply just as well to the base model Studio Display as they do to my upgraded version. There are a few reasons I went with this display, but honestly the biggest one is just simplicity. Simple things like volume control, brightness control, all work seamlessly on the keyboard. Colors out of the box are gonna look like what you would expect them to look like. And that isn't always the case, especially with, well, really any uncalibrated monitor. I'm tempted to say that the price point of these monitors is a lot higher than it should be. But the truth is there aren't other monitors that hit the same kind of quality, ease of use, performance as this display does at really any price point. The base Mac Studio display comes in at around $1599 US, and then it's around $300 or $400 for the nano texture, and then $300 or $400 for the tilty stand upgrade. Personally, I went with the matte upgrade because I have a big window right behind me where I edit. So it's really nice not having to deal with the reflections from this window. The built-in webcam and built-in speakers, Thunderbolt and USB-C connectivity, decent color, decent contrast, and it's not annoying to work with. It hits a balance of everything you want all in one easy to use package. Before this Mac Studio display, I was using the LG Ultrafine 4K, and it had that kind of simple connectivity. The USB-C input, brightness, volume, all that kind of works. And I liked it. And I would even say right now that's a decent budget option. If you still wanted the benefits that I mentioned here with the Mac Studio display, you can get a lot of them in those older LG Ultrafines. And you can find those on Marketplace for a pretty good price. And I think even today, 2025, that's a decent option. But if you wanted to look at something new off the shelf and you still wanted to save that money, I wanted to talk about this monitor here, which is the Dell U27UQ UK3E. Dude, you're getting the Dell. It's a stupid name, but it runs for like 500 USD. So for like a little bit more than just the nano texture upgrade, you can get a 27-inch matte display. It's got a really wide color gamut, USB-C. It comes with a really nice stand that not only has tilt and height adjustment, but can also rotate to vertical. The only things that you're missing out on by going this option is that simple brightness adjustment from your keyboard, built-in speakers, or a webcam, so you're gonna have to add those, and the matte display of that is nowhere near as matte as the nano texture. Whatever Apple's doing with this nano texture, they're doing a really good job. We've never found that it looks as good as the Studio display does, and even though it's said to have a higher contrast ratio, to our eyes, it really just doesn't. That's really it. It's just a little more annoying to work with, but at the end of the day, for the price savings, I think it's a really good option. Also, forgive my, gimbal. I've been playing with this RS4 Mini and it just started tracking me. Especially early on in my career, I fell into a trap that I'm sure a lot of you have as well, and I think this is common among most hobbies, which is you can find yourself getting more infatuated with the tools than with the craft. And this can be a very expensive trap to fall into. And so I'm thankful that stop it. I'm thankful that that's not a thing that feels so true to me anymore. I've kind of ironed out my kit into something that I really like, and it's something that's been with me for several years now, most of which I don't anticipate myself needing to upgrade unless they happen to break. And at least for me, that's the goal, is I want to have a kit that allows me to love the craft and not just the kit. I don't know. I came down with a head cold this weekend and I feel like garbage. So I think I'm just going to post this and go to bed. Thanks for watching. Love you. Good night. Bye. Stop!